Totoo ba yun na yung mga ganyang triggers could be rooted from childhood experiences?
Yes, no, there are certain triggers, or not all, okay? Kasi talagang ang brain natin is very malleable, no, for learnings. Pero technically, kung ano yung mga naranasan natin nung tayo ay bata pa, it can actually influence who we are, what we do, how we behave, or how we react to something right now.
I wanna talk about this stress tolerance. How do you think it affects a person if meron kang diagnosis? And meron bang ways on how you can maximize yung distress tolerance mo, your capacity for stress?
I would usually refer to this protocol to an acronym that I use in my discussions. I would usually tell them, you just have to be sexier.
Wow! Gusto ko yan! One of the things that I learned sa holistic industry is kapag yung stress mo is very overwhelming na, like nag-stack up na siya, mag-manifest siya sa katawan mo. So, meaning, ang stress is also a cause kung bakit nagkakasakit ka. How would you suggest people to be aware of how they feel?
So, we usually refer to the 5 Ds para madali ding ipaliwanag. So, number 1, of course, is
mental health ka dyan.
Welcome back to the new episode of the Mental Health Ka Dyan podcast. And in this episode, I'm just so happy and excited kasi it's my first time to be in a studio. Imagine mo yun, recording in a studio. So I'm just very giddy and I'm so happy. And also, I have here a very special guest. And actually, inintroduce siya sa akin ng isang friend. He's a psychologist. And also, if in case you need a psychologist, you'll find him in St. Luke's Medical Center and also UST Hospital. And what's good is, nag-appear na siya sa mga TV shows. Like for example, Kada Umaga at Net25 to talk about the psychology behind hoarding, right? And also sa DZBB Radio, where he talked about stress behind working from home. And also, you'll be able to find him across different platforms, like, for example, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and also Instagram as Tito Mong Psychologist. Okay, so let's welcome Lordy Santos.
Hi, guys!
Hello! Thank you for saying yes to my invitation.
Okay, so of course, no, para makapagbigay din tayo ng kadagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa mental health.
Yes, okay. So, I want to start with raising awareness about mental health sa mga Filipinos. Kanina we were talking about, I was asking how many clients you usually have per day. Sabi mo madami. So, kamusta na ba yung awareness ng mga Filipinos when it comes to mental health?
No, actually, there's a steep increase, no, in the Filipinos' awareness in terms of mental health, lalo na nung pandemic. No, that's actually when this trend were first observed na talagang mas marami na yung kumukonsulta, nagtatanong, nagkakaroon ng kani-kanilang idea about mental health. So, that's basically a good start. Regardless, talagang there's still a lot of work to do. Not just for mental health professionals, but even for advocates to inform more Filipinos.
So, how would you say why would Filipinos need to pay attention to their mental health? Kasi I'm working with US-based clients when it comes to mental health, holistic health, and I notice sa kanila kasi it's norm na eh. It's part of the norm. Like for example, you experience grief, loss, ganyan. And kumbaga parang hindi stigma sa kanila if you go through a therapy. Pero sa atin, di ba parang it shall pass. Parang gano'n. Hayaan mo lang siya. Di ba? Tapos when you go to therapy, parang may stigma na, ano nangyayari sa'yo? Gano'n. So, ayun, how would you position mental health sa culture ng Filipino?
Actually, dahil na rin, no, dun sa mga practices, no, that most Filipinos, even nowadays, no, still believe na pwedeng makakatulong for some individuals. But if we'll be looking at it, no, in an objective manner, yung iba kasi pwede pang mas makapagpalala, no, nung mga sitwasyon or nung mga karamdamang nararanasan nila. Like for example, for grieving, some people would again just tell other people na okay na, nawala siya, kalimutan mo na yun, wag mo na lang isipin, without actually them realizing that everyone has their own phases, has their own stages in terms of grieving for someone that they've just lost. Same goes with other problems, like for example, sleep. no? Yung iba sabihin na wag ka lang mag-isip sa gabi or subukan mo lang tong ganto, ganyan. Tapos dadating din yung antok sa'yo, etc. Without actually them realizing na yung ibang ginagawa nila mas nakakapagpalala pa, no, nung mga nararanasan nila. So basically that's where we want to start, and that's actually what tells us how important it is to inform more Filipino about mental health. Na hindi lahat ng akala natin dati ay nakakatulong, talagang nakakatulong para sa karamihan. And there are actually researches din, local and abroad, that generates data na eto talaga yung mga practices or yung mga ways to deal with those kind of problems. And sad to say, siguro as of now, alam na ng karamihan, pero marami pa rin ay hindi aware dun sa mga ganung bagay.
Meron na ba kayong sa Philippines, meron na ba kayo like percentage of population natin versus dun sa aware and accepted na yung mental health?
Wala pa akong na-encounter na ganung data or research that could basically tell us about the exact percentage of how many Filipinos are aware, how many Filipinos, for example, are not. I didn't came across any articles yet or research data, but hopefully soon, no, magkakaroon na nga ng mga ganung information, so we can work on it.
Okay, so can you cite any example of like yung mga symptoms na napapansin mo based on your experience working with different clients? Ano yung mga symptoms na parang, ay, okay, medyo, may mental health challenge? Kasi di ba ang dami niyan, depression, anxiety.
Iba-iba.
Can you name others? Aside from...
Kumbaga parang madalas na na-encounter namin, no? Alright, so syempre, usually, nandyan yung mga nabanggit mo. Some people would bring themselves to therapy due to depression, anxiety, pero hindi lang natatali lagi dun sa dalawang yun. People would also consult psychologists or other mental health professionals for undiagnosed ADHD, for PTSD or trauma. Yung iba rin nagkakaroon ng manifestations ng neurodegenerative or neurocognitive problems. Yung iba naman ay nagmamanifest din ng personality disorders that actually for them is hard to realize that they're actually experiencing some problems until someone from their family or from their group of friends would tell them about it. So talagang there's a wide range of, sabihin natin, behaviors, yung mga kaisipan, or yung cognitive processes that we encounter, no, in a day-to-day basis in our clinics.
Pero okay, kasi at the same manner na marami siyang labels, marami rin parang kumbaga psychologist ka, 'di ba? Meron din psychiatrist. So can you explain yung difference nun? So and also two-part question. Second is, if I am experiencing something like to that effect, sino yung una ko lalapitan?
Alright, sige. So, i-break down natin yung things, no? So, it's good that you were able to ask about the difference kasi marami pa rin nalilito hanggang ngayon.
Kahit ako nalilito
no?
ako.
Oo. So, basically, let's start with psychiatrists. So, when we talk about psychiatrists, they are medical professionals, no? So, they are doctors, physicians, who chose to specialize in the practice of psychiatry. So, basically, they are the ones who are responsible for looking into different patients, recommending different treatment procedures from psychopharmacology or yung medications, even psychotherapy. Sila rin yung mga nagre-request, for example, ng mga medical tests to rule out other somatic or biological explanations. Kasi minsan, yung mga simptomas, halimbawa ng depression and anxiety, they serve as a secondary symptom from a person's biological or medical condition, no? Like for example, hypothyroidism. So dapat ma-rule out muna yung mga ganong biological.
So wait lang, hyperthyroidism cause siya or effect?
Actually, doon nagsisimula. Sa kanya nagsisimula, no? Like for example, for a person with undiagnosed hypothyroidism, they can actually manifest symptoms of depression or anxiety. So, pwedeng hindi mapansin yun. That's why our psychiatrists or other medical doctors would usually ask these patients first to rule out no, those kind of medical disorders or medical problems. Again, hindi lang dahil doon, no? Meron pang iba. Alright? So, basically, that's their forte.
So, kumbaga parang ang mental health issues, hindi lang siya dito. Kumbaga parang it's a manifestation of what's going on throughout
the entirety of your body.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's actually what we call as a holistic approach, no, or an interdisciplinary approach. Kasi sabihin natin talagang merong medical condition, so kahit anong treatment that can be offered, for example, in a psychological perspective like psychotherapy, no, or yung what other people would refer to as talk therapy. Kahit anong galing ng therapist doon, kung merong underlying medical condition, well, it may not, no? Kumbaga parang it pulls you away from the potential resolution of those problems. Kasi nga, merong undiagnosed and untreated medical condition. So usually, these are the responsibilities of the physicians, specifically the psychiatrists, especially if they are taking care of someone who are complaining about a specific mental health disorder.
Okay. So you mentioned about holistic. Gusto ko lang mag-backtrack ng konti kasi baka mamaya medyo, medyo scientific na. So if you're talking to a 7-year-old kid, how would you explain yung difference ng holistic approach dun sa medical approach yon? How would you explain that? Na parang nakaka-affect siya holistically sa mental health.
So, basically, sabihin lang natin, for a 7-year-old child, no, na itong mga nararanasan or nararamdaman natin ay pwede rin talagang dulot ng mga sakit na pwedeng ma-identify or pwedeng makita ng mga doktor. Okay? So, at hindi lang talaga sila pwedeng laging sabihin natin dahil dun sa psychological symptoms or the symptoms na nararanasan niya ngayon.
Okay, I see. Very interesting yung mention mo kanina about talk therapy na baka kulang siya.
Maging limited, no? Yung potential benefits niya.
Yes, kasi nga baka meron pang underlying causes sa katawan. Pero another question, one of the things that I learned sa holistic industry is kapag yung stress mo is very overwhelming na, like nag-stack up na siya, magmamanifest siya sa katawan mo. So parang tawag dito, like for example, yung hyperthyroidism, di ba? I asked kanina if it's cause or effect. So, meaning, meron din talagang mga cause ang stress or ang stress is also a cause kung bakit nagkakasakit ka on your physical level.
Correct.
Okay. So, how would you... Kasi awareness is another thing eh. If you're not aware, mahirap. Pero, it's another thing na how would you suggest people to be aware of how they feel? Kasi, yun nga, yun na-mention mo kanina na minsan, sinasabi na lang ng mga tao sa paligid nila, hindi nila napapansin. So, how would you suggest someone to be an advocate of themselves?
Okay, so for themselves, no, kung paano nila ma-detect or at least mapapansin na meron ng mali.
Yes.
Okay, so we usually refer to the 5 Ds.
Okay, wow. 5
may 5 Ds para madali ding ipaliwanag. So, number 1, of course, is distress. Okay, so basically, when we talk about distress, that's when you persistently or sabihin natin frequently experience negative emotions. Okay? So, madaling magalit, no, nakakaramdam ng sobrang kalungkutan, pagsisisi, frustration. Again, there's a lot or there's a cocktails of emotions that you could feel. But as long as it makes you less comfortable or uncomfortable in an extreme level, so that would now fall to the first D, which is distress. Okay? So, number 2 is deviance. When we say deviance, it talks about you deviating from your usual activity or from the activity that's expected from someone like you. Halimbawa, for younger children, they are expected to attend school, listen to their teachers, learn something from school. But this person or this child actually has been experiencing difficulty attending school or maybe learning something from the class. For adults, they are expected, for example, to at least be productive in terms of working, of looking for some other things that they can do, no, that is expected for an adult, pero hindi sila makasabay or hindi sila makagawa ng mga bagay na yon. Kahit or lalo na kapag dati naman nilang nagagawa. So basically, they are deviating from what is expected of them. So that's the second D.
So is that different from distracting yourself? Or
well, pwedeng
magkaiba
pumunta
siya?
doon. Kasi susunod dun sa D ay yung actually dapat pang-apat pa.
Ay,
which is
okay.
yung danger.
Okay.
So yeah, advance na natin sa danger. Danger basically is when you impose risks, no? Of course, for yourself, for other people, or even those who are around you. Okay? Whether it's direct physical risk, no? Or yun, yung mga self-destructive activities. Okay? So, that's the 4th D. Balikan natin yung 3rd D, which is dysfunction. So, this is actually when you stop being functional member of the society or doing those things, no, that you are expected to do. So, kaya magkasunod yung deviance at saka yung dysfunction. Kasi when you deviate from your usual activity, most of the time, it will lead to dysfunction. Yung iba naman, they deviate from what they would usually do and they start engaging on behaviors that are destructive or dangerous for them. Okay? So, yun. The 4 Ds and then the duration. That's the 5th. So, there are times, even for people like us, may experience those other 4s, hopefully not danger, at a certain extent of time. Di ba? Like, for example, may namatay na kapamilya, talaga you would feel distressed, dysfunctional, you may deviate from your usual activity, but it can be processed in a specific time frame. Hindi siya magiging persistent, hindi siya magiging prolonged. That's why the 5D is also an important factor to consider. Kasi if it goes beyond what is expected and it results to other problems at nakumpleto mo yung 4Ds pa, lalo na dumikit na or nagkaroon na ng dangers, then most likely that would be a sign that there is a problem.
Okay.
No? A diagnosable mental health condition or something that needs to be treated.
Sa duration ba dito papasok like yung pattern na like for example kasi di ba meron yung iba na it happens after a month ganyan tapos after 1 month okay ka after 1 month hindi ka ulit okay.
Doon siya actually pumapasok sa duration na yun. Kung kasi it's not just about the time or the length of the time, di ba? It also talks about the frequency, how often it occurs, how long, or yung pattern na nababanggit mo kanina. So, doon lahat kinokolekta yun.
Okay. So, ang ganda nito kasi at least meron kang pattern na titignan. Saan nagpo-fall under yung
mga nararanasan
mo,
or
yung
pinagdadaanan
mo ngayon.
And siguro I want to emphasize no that yung iba kasi ganun nga ang nagiging mindset din na ay, dapat makumpleto pala muna tong 5Ds na to bago ako kumonsulta or humingi ng tulong. Or baka dapat, pag 3 lang, pwede na akong kumonsulta. Actually, hindi. People, even without these 5Ds, can actually consult mental health professionals. So, whether it's a psychiatrist, another mental health professional, like psychometricians or counselors or psychologists, they can actually be consulted not just for pathological behaviors, but even for self-improvement.
Yes.
So, kumbaga parang ang lagi naming sinasabi, hindi mo naman kailangan laging maghintay na meron ng problema bago ka kumonsulta. Kung sa tingin mo may mga bagay na kakailanganin mo ng tulong o gabay, pwedeng-pwede ka na talagang kumonsulta sa ibang mental health professionals.
Yes. Okay, so going back dun sa 5Ds na na-mention mo. So, ilan ang nito? Like for example, I'm feeling yung 3 out of 5 or 1 out of 5, ganyan. So, does it mean pag 1 out of 5, nasa safe side ka pa?
Actually, wala siyang, hindi siya parang, hindi siya checklist lang basta-basta.
Okay.
That, for example, if there's distress and then there's duration, that would already be a sign, a signal or a red flag na, okay, baka pwede mo nang i-consider.
Yes.
So, habang dumadami siya, syempre, regardless of these checks, whether 2, 3, or 4 yan, then that would just tell you na, okay, red flag na talaga, kailangan mo nang subukang kumonsulta. So again, actually hindi natin kailangan ng isang check dyan. If you want to improve on yourself, work on something, then you could basically look or ask for a mental health professional.
Ayun, and another question yung, because may friend ako na may ADHD siya. And yung symptoms niya, parang sometimes it's mistaken as personality mo na. So how would you, how would you talk about that? Kasi parang sa kanya kasi nung na-diagnose siya, nagkaroon siya ng parang denial na parang, ay, akala ko ganito lang talaga ako, ganyan. And people, siguro, who are also undergoing this, parang kumbaga, they feel that it's their dark side, 'di ba? Tapos yung, since mababa ang distress tolerance, minsan, how they approach people is parang, alam mo yon, hindi siya, medyo hurtful siya. Ayun, which is minsan, na ang common misconception is, ay, personality niya ganyan
kumbaga
talaga
ganun
siya.
na talaga siya.
Oo, yun.
Pero meron palang underlying na condition or disorder like the ADHD. Okay, so usually, it's better if we can, again, compare, confirm, not compare. Kasi dyan, ginagamit yung clinical skills ng psychiatrists, psychologists, or other mental health professionals to dig into the history of the person, whether that could actually help us identify whether it can be classified as a personality disorder or if it is really leaning towards the condition of ADHD. And again, it's a complex situation. At mahirap siyang i-confirm. For example, in a situation like this na wala naman talaga tayo nung kabuuang image or picture nung taong yon. But definitely, meeting a mental health professional could help. Lalo na if they can dig into that history, informations coming from different people who would usually deal with this individual, tsaka natin mako-confirm. Kasi medyo talagang multi-directional approach.
Yes.
So, hindi lang siya dapat galing sa test materials, hindi lang siya dapat galing sa interview with the person. Meron din tayong tinatawag na observant data or informant interview. So, talagang collection siya of those different data. That would give us an idea whether it's something to confirm or lean towards ADHD or maybe a personality problem.
Yes. So, paano pag walang pera?
Okay, oo.
Pa-consult.
Meron namang mga offered na free mental health consultations from government agencies, government hospitals. No? These services are, I believe, hanggang ngayon, continuously being offered by these institutions. Hindi ko nga lang sigurado kung, for example, ilan pa yung kayang, yung queue, no? Or yung kinikater nila. But definitely, there are clinics na meron din ganong advocacy na nag-open sila lagi ng slots for free consultation. So, parang 2 years ago, or starting the pandemic, basically, that's one part of our advocacy. Na syempre puro online lang, 'di ba? Zoom, bawal pa lumabas or wala pang face-to-face. There would always be a slot for someone who can't afford.
Yes.
Tapos we will be catering services to them for free.
So, paano naman if sobrang haba ng queue. Pero, tapos, nagtitipid, walang pera, ganyan. So, ano yung parang pwede nilang gawin to self-soothe para kahit papano matulungan nila yung sarili nila?
Okay, actually, depende pa rin dun sa nararanasan nila. But best or something that is important is basically the people around them. Okay? Kasi yung iba, pwedeng hindi sapat na sila lang yung talagang tumulong sa sarili nila at a certain point. But those individuals who are around them, who can do more to be knowledgeable on how they can deal or they can interact with this person, how they can guide this person, they can actually contribute. Kumbaga parang isa sila sa may malaking contribution dun sa pag-aalaga or pagtulong sa taong makarecover. So for themselves, we have different exercises or different techniques, pero yun nga, hindi kasi siya madaling ibigay or sabihin lang without direct professional guidance. Mahirap din kasi dun sa mga tools na yun, wala siyang hindi siya one size that could fit everyone. So it needs to be personalized, it needs to be something crafted for that person. So hindi siya parang pwedeng ibibigay lang na parang libro o basahin mo yan, okay na. Hindi ganun So, pero yung nakapaligid sa kanya, if they can equip themselves with the right knowledge on how to interact with that person, that could be a good or a huge contributor.
Pero generally, sa mga clients mo, what do you usually suggest? Like, yung mga pwede nilang gawin kapag nakakaramdam sila ng anxiety, ganyan. Yung, as in, yung pwede mong gawin na, kakalma ako, ganun.
Commonly, yung isa sa mga bagay na nakakatulong sa karamihan, again, not for all, pero sa karamihan is basically regulation. How they can regulate these emotions, both physical at saka yung emotional. So that would include relaxation exercises, breathing exercises, grounding. Again, for some, they find it effective. Okay? Dun sa iba naman, they may need a different approach. Or at times, again, some medical assistance or psychopharmacological assistance is also needed. Kaya kung babalik tayo dun sa tanong kanina about the difference between psychiatrist and psychologist, psychologist on the other hand is the one who is usually tasked to first conduct assessment procedures, talagang medyo mahabang assessment procedures that could either confirm or rule out a specific condition. Siyempre, directly working with a psychiatrist, and they're the ones who are tasked to give non-pharmacological treatments like psychotherapy, counseling, and even psychoeducation for people around that individual who is subject for testing.
Okay. So, mga gaano katagal ang diagnosis?
Okay.
Ilang sessions kaya siya?
Usually it includes multiple session. May mga pagkakataon na kung kaya namang i-administer lahat in just a day or maybe around 3 to 4 hours, possible siya. But for most cases, or for some cases talagang minsan, pwedeng 2 or 3 sessions. Again, hindi lang minsan para sa patient, or para dun sa taong humingi ng tulong, pero kasama rin yung mga taong kasama niya sa bahay, mga partners, or kung sila in a relationship, dapat makakuha rin ng information coming from them.
Yun na-mention mo kanina about emotional regulation. I think, dyan din tayo medyo hindi aware.
Okay. Oo, yung iba parang, well, again, if you'll be referring to the stigmatizing behaviors, kumbaga parang, wag mo lang isipin yun para di mo maramdaman, parang gano'n.
Pero, I think it has a great impact. Like, for example na lang, kapag, lagi ina-example to traffic, tapos may sumingit, Tapos nagalit ka agad, nakapag-away ka. Yung sa mga ganong circumstances na very lang siya, like maliliit na bagay, ganyan. If you don't know how to regulate your emotions, it would affect your whole day.
Correct.
'Di ba? So, how would you explain yung importance ng emotional regulation not on a large scale but also yung sa mga daily activities lang din?
Okay. So, first of all, syempre, you need to analyze first, is it really something that occurs in that certain circumstance or event? Or is it something pervasive na talagang kahit saan ka pumunta, kahit wala namang sumingit, 'di ba?
Galit.
Talagang magagalitin or mataas ang iyong irritability. No, kasi that could really be something na kailangan pang mapag-usapan. Okay? Pero if you would be on those instances na napansin mo yung sarili mong talagang bigla kang nagagalit and certain or specific occasions, then engaging on those relaxation exercises, things that you could do to regulate yourself is very important. Kasi kapag na dysregulate mo yan or na-i-express mo in an inefficient manner, it can actually reinforce that behavior.
Yes.
Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mas lumala, pwedeng sabihin natin sa una, simpleng galit lang, pero eventually pwede siyang maging anger issues, no? Or a set of hostile behaviors, at pwede pang lumala. So, as early as possible, if you can see those kind of behaviors or emotions manifesting in an uncontrolled or overwhelming manner, better if you could look for something that you can do to manage it accordingly. So, yeah, balikan natin yung kanina, relaxation exercises. That could be different from one person to another, okay? Or expressing it in a good way. Like, for example, reflecting on what really made you angry for that situation. Kasi etong mga reasons na ito or yung mga triggers natin are usually anchored to what we value in our lives or what we aspire to be. Okay, kumbaga parang nagkakaroon tayo minsan na, okay, mahalaga sa akin na na nirerespeto ko, halimbawa, no? Tapos, ang feeling mo, kapag may sumingit sa'yo, ay hindi ka na kaagad nirerespeto.
Yes.
So, that value was violated. So, maybe if we try to re-examine that kind of situation, try to look into your interpretation. So, talaga bang may sumingit? Does that mean that that person deliberately wanted to disrespect you? Halimbawa lang. So, those kind of thinking patterns can be re-examined. But again, it's not something that can be easily done on your own.
Yes.
Again, some people can do it. Okay, that's good for them. But for most, kailangan talaga may guidance. No? So, yeah, those are just some. Iwasan lang din yung pag-express nga in a different way. Like, kasi minsan yung iba, although in a short term, nakakatulong siya, yung tipong sisigaw ka, or minsan, nakikita ko minsan sa advertisements, yung parang may punching bag na ilalagay, tapos doon ka daw susuntok para mailabas mo, di ba, yung galit. In the short term, sige, pwede siyang makatulong para ma-release yung tension, pero masasanay kasi yung katawan at saka yung isipan mo, na dapat pag galit ka, lagi ka may sinusuntok. Di ba? Paano kung wala yung punching bag na yun?
Sino na lang makita?
Sino ang tatamaan yan? So, again, those are some of the practices that may persist the problem or that may even lead to progression to other kinds of problems. Kaya, yun din yung part ng stigma na sana ay unti-unting mabigyan pa ng awareness na hindi lahat ng pwedeng mag-work in short term is helping in the long term.
Totoo ba yun na yung mga ganyang triggers could be rooted from childhood experiences?
Yes, no, there are certain triggers, or not all, okay? Kasi talagang ang brain natin is very malleable for learnings. Pero technically, kung ano yung mga naranasan natin nung tayo ay bata pa, it can actually influence who we are, what we do, how we behave, or how we react to something right now. Lalo na when it comes to socialization. Because if you'll be referring to that specific part of the brain that is in charge of socialization, hindi siya napapalitan eh. Nare-repurpose lang siya. So kung ano yung naranasan niya while you're still young, those things can still manifest now that you're an adult.
Kasi mayroon akong one of my clients, parang ang example niya, when he consulted, dyan din, yung sa traffic, mainitin yung ulo niya, ganyan. Ayun, parang na-trace nila nung childhood niya na may time na parang gusto niyang umuwi, pero yung teacher niya, hindi siya pinayagan. Tapos parang nagkaroon siya ng resentment na parang loss of power. So parang unconsciously, yun yung nagiging trigger niya every time na na-experience niya yun.
Yeah. And most likely, he values diba? Control or power or whatever term he wanted to use for it. And it appears that at that time, he felt violated.
Yes.
So kaya nagkaroon ng ganung emotions. So talagang posible na rooted siya in our childhood experiences. But again, we cannot always say na dahil lang doon lagi 'yon. No, merong mga specific circumstances that we can experience as an adult that can also influence the manifestation of those behaviors.
Okay. So, in case na ganun, sa session mo as a psychologist, how do you challenge those thoughts and how do you reframe that?
Yeah. Iba-iba rin kasi yung approach ng psychologists. No, we have different frameworks, theories that we abide into. Merong mga approaches na nagdi-deal or kumbaga parang binabalikan yung mga early childhood experiences. Merong mga approaches that is focusing on the present. Meron ding mga approaches naman na medyo towards the future. So, personally, in my practice, I would usually refer to those theories that are anchored to the present. And it is free or kumbaga parang hindi naman siya fixed. That's why I usually use the term integrative. Kasi if ever I notice na kailangan ko ng other approaches, maybe from the past or maybe again from that focuses on the future, sinasama ko. Okay? So, we try to re-examine those kind of interpretations. No? In a session, we try to discuss ano ba nga ba yung mga pumasok sa isip, ano yung mga naramdaman, ano kaya yung mga posibleng kakaibang kalalabasan kung sakaling iba yung naging reaction. Ano yung difference ng reaction sa response. So, I can inform the person how he can basically differentiate the two and choose which one could be better. So, ayun, medyo malawak siya. It also depends on how the person will answer or will reflect on those kind of questions.
So, parang what you're doing is helping them reflect.
Yeah, technically, nagkakaroon ng mga ganung exercises, no? Looking back into these experiences, looking back into those events so that how it can be prevented from occurring again in the present and in the future.
How many sessions kaya? Like, I know that this is like a very, parang wala siyang sagot. Definite answer. Pero, kasi one of the things that I hear when it comes to yan, magpa-psych ka, ganyan. One of the concerns that I usually hear is, ang tagal kasi, parang ilang session sa abot, ganon. So, how many sessions do you think yung parang makakakita ka na ng changes, ganyan?
So tama ka sa una, no, na walang definite na sagot. Okay, kasi una, syempre, it depends on the condition, it depends on the compliance of the person, it depends on the available support system, syempre, yung expertise din nung nagbibigay nung therapeutic approach, whether they are aligned to the preference of the person, kaya talagang ang hirap niyang i-gauge, no, or bigyan ng range kung ilan ba talaga dapat, or gano'n. So again, it is something that is sa initial session hindi talaga madaling i-determine. Actually, kung pwede nga lang talaga, no, na isang session lang, tapos okay na, why not? Pero hindi ganun Kasi we need to talk about a lot of things. We need to, kumbaga parang kailangang himayin, no, yung mga bagay na nararanasan. And yun nga, talagang kailangan nila ng number of sessions. So, usually, it would range for about, sa tingin ko, no, again, this is limited to my experience, the shortest could be around 3. No, dahil hindi naman din ganun ka problematic, but there are actually longer sessions that compose siguro of more than 20, more than 30 sessions, no, if I'm not mistaken, pero talagang minsan pwede siyang humaba.
So ano pag after ng session parang they can manage their emotions, ganun?
Gradually. There are a set of techniques, tools that can be shared for each session. That's also the reason why most of the time these therapeutic approaches would ask the person to meet the therapist after a specific time frame. Like for example, every week or after a month. Kasi they are also giving the chance to that person to apply it to their real life. Kasi yung mga pag-uusapan nyo, hindi lang naman dapat sa loob ng therapy session or ng room may apply No? Dapat matututunan niya yung i-test, i-apply.
Nang siya lang.
Oo. So, that's the reason why they have that kind of interference in between sessions para magkaroon din ng feedback or evaluation session so they can see whether it's really helping or not.
I want to talk about distress tolerance. How do you think it affects a person if meron kang diagnosis and meron bang ways on how you can maximize yung distress tolerance mo, your capacity for stress.
Oh, actually, for those individuals who are, sabihin natin, experiencing a diagnosable mental health condition, it would actually move them closer towards, kumbaga parang towards the deficiency in distress tolerance, especially kapag wala pang, sabihin natin, self-help strategies or coping strategies. Dahil nga, nandun na rin yung 5Ds na nabanggit natin kanina that they can get easily frustrated with. Pero again, hindi siya applicable to all. Not all individuals who are experiencing these kind of symptoms may experience kumbaga, na parang deficient or super low distress tolerance. Yung iba, pwede rin hindi natin makikita technically kung nadidistress na ba sila o hindi at di din nila alam kung paano i-express. Some people may express it in an aggressive or hostile manner, but not all. Okay? Yung iba talagang they would choose to isolate, withdraw, or remove themselves from that interaction. Again, it can be expressed in a different way. And having that said, it's something that is very important for almost of these mental health conditions, especially those things na medyo affective in nature, medyo emotional in nature. So, how to maximize it?
Yes. Paano mo i-expand yung capacity mo?
Okay, so ano ba to? In general, di ba?
Yes, in general.
Okay. Sige. Siyempre, unang-una is yung health. Okay? If health is compromised, in general, whether you have a diagnosable mental health condition or not, distress tolerance will get low. So, ano ngayon yung foundations ng health? So, I would usually refer to this protocol to an acronym that I use in my discussions para mas madaling matandaan ng students, okay, or ng mga listeners. I would usually tell them, you just have to be sexier.
Wow!
Okay? Oo. So, but it's not actually about being sexy as to how it is perceived in the public. Pero it's, again, an acronym. So, let's talk about the first letter. Para mas madaling tandaan, it's S, that's for sleep. So, having enough sleep, having good quality sleep, having regular sleep, and having a sleep in the right timing can actually improve your ability to increase your distress tolerance. Siyempre, kapag puyat ka, expect mo talagang mas magiging mainitin ang ulo mo. Lalo na kung tuloy-tuloy pa yan. Or para dun sa mga nakakaranas ng insomnia or other form of sleep problems. No? So, that's number 1. Sleep. Actually, Dr. Matthew Walker, he is a renowned sleep specialist in the United States, I believe, said that it serves as the foundation. Siya talaga yung parang pinaka groundwork ng health, whether it's medical or mental health. All right? So, sleep. The second one is about eating habits. That's the E, sa sexier. Okay? Eating habits. So, there are actually research and even professional scientists who refer to our gut as our second brain. So, kung ano yung nilalagay mo dyan, kung ano yung chemicals, kung ano yung kinakain mo, that would actually have some influence in your ability to process information, deal with problems. Kung wala rin yan laman, talagang mas magiging irritable ka. Kung halos lahat ng laman yan ay ultra-processed foods din, that contains a lot of chemicals that are bad for our body and our brain, then that could lessen your distress tolerance. Alright. The next is X. Okay? Anong meron sa X? You have to find your X. Pero hindi ito yung X mo na, hindi, ba't parang kinabahan nila? Joke lang. But it's not about your X na nakakait sa'yo, no? Actually, I use the term X kasi in math, di ba, you have to find X. Laging yun yung pinapahanap. Because it is something that is personally, kumbaga parang that is idiosyncratic or unique for you. These are self-care activities that may be different from one person to other. So, yung iba may actually engage on leisure activities or relaxation practices na maybe having some time with their friends, with their family. Yung iba naman may refer to mobile games. Yung iba naman to computer games. Or yung iba is to, like for example, for me, it's actually a long ride, using my motorbike. So, that would be my X, which may not be effective for other people. So that's why it's an X kasi it can be different from one person to another.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Okay? So that's the first 3 letters. S-E-X. So hindi tayo hinto doon dahil meron pang mga kasunod na letter. At mahirap pakinggan kung doon lang sa 3 letter na yun. May hinto. Okay, the next letter is letter I. So basically it's about intimacy. When we talk about intimacy, again, it's not just limited to romantic relationships or romantic involvements. It includes your relationship with other people, your friends, your family members, basically your support system. The more quality no, or the better quality you have, the better quality relationships you have with them, the more time you spend with them, can basically help how you can regulate yourself, distress and other factors that might affect. Next letter is E. Another E. The second E talks about exercise. Yan. So, there are a lot of chemicals in our body and in our mind that is being produced by our body when we engage in different exercises. In minimum, dapat meron tayong cardio exercise at saka resistance exercise. So, yon. Better if we could have regular participation in those kind of activities. Okay? And then, the last is R. So, basically, that's the regulation tools. Some of the things that we've already mentioned earlier, like learning how to disengage temporarily, no, yung mga timeouts, 'di ba? Again, temporarily. Importante 'yon, yung temporarily, kasi kapag hindi siya temporary, nagiging avoidance siya.
Yes.
Which is something that is not advisable. So when we say temporary disengagement, parang timeouts, you have to make sure that you get back to it to deal with the problem. Okay, wag lang during a highly emotional situation.
Yes.
All right? So those are some yung breathing exercises na napag-usapan natin kanina, no? And other techniques that technically for some can be learned during therapy sessions, or yung iba naman they can do it through self-help strategies or self-help references.
Balikan ko yung sa relationship. Kasi ito na yung support system mo eh.
Yes.
'Di ba? And kanina pinag-uusapan nga natin yung stigma around mental health. And I ask you if sa mga clients mo nakaka-encounter ka pa ba ng family members nung diagnosed, if may resistance pa or may judgment. Yun. And yun actually yung avatar ng Mental Health Ka Dyan podcast. Kasi di ba parang, yun nga, they say na yung mga people who are not aware, sometimes ang reaction nila is, nasa isip mo lang yan, ganyan. So, how do you handle those kinds of clients? If meron silang family members na skeptical, may stigma pa rin around sa diagnose nila.
Okay, so I don't usually look at them as someone who has a stigma.
Okay.
No? Kasi kumbaga parang that would affect my attitude towards explaining it to them.
Okay.
But I would usually direct myself to see them as people who know less about mental health. So that kumbaga yung attitude na ibibigay ko is more on to inform them.
Yes.
Okay, kasi napapansin ko rin yon, no, from the past, that if ever you'll be looking into these individuals who really has a stigma as someone na antagonistic, 'di ba, about something that you do, magiging defensive ka rin at yung paraan ng pagpapaliwanag mo sa kanila medyo aggressive. In consequence, magiging defensive naman sila. So, that's one thing that I hope, no, some other people could also try if you want to inform more people, is to see them as people who are less informed. So that you could stand in front of them as someone to educate them, not to question their beliefs or not to antagonize what they know currently. So, yun yung una. And I approach it, of course, with respect and politeness, kasi those are things that are long-held belief. At alam natin na kapag kinontra natin yun, lalo na kung medyo mas nakakatanda yung kaharap mo, talaga chaotic yun. No? So, I would usually approach it with respect and politeness so that I can open up their listening ears and they can encode this information without being defensive or without being too judgmental.
So, kinakausap mo rin sila kasama sa session?
Not technically. May mga pagkakataon na concurrent, no, na ibig sabihin ay co-occurring, or may mga pagkakataon naman talagang dapat separate session. Iba-iba siya kung ano yung case. And most of the time, talaga namang merong learnings din after the session. Kasi, di ba, madalas natin sinasabi that it takes a community to raise a child.
Yes.
And that's also technically available if we want to help people who are experiencing mental health-related problems. And again, I want to emphasize na hindi naman nila choice na maranasan lang yun. Di ba? Kasi hindi lahat ng mga ganong karanasan, kumbaga parang nasa isipan lang nila. There are a lot of factors that has to be understood, that has to be considered, no? And that would basically tell us na these people needs help and not just another form of judgment coming from the community.
So, if a listener is like, for example, having a hard time na sabihin sa parents nila, sa partner, sa friends, kung ano yung pinagdadaanan nila, tapos pinakinig nila yung podcast, how would you talk to them? How would you talk to those support system?
So basically, when we have individuals, for example, in our home who are experiencing something, it's good if we can just at first lend a non-judgmental ear, someone who could listen to them, so that they can understand how they see the world in their perspective. And with that, most of the time, these individuals would actually have a better understanding of what the person is going through. So, sana mabigyan natin ng pagkakataon na mapakinggan kung ano man yung nararanasan nila without putting any judgment based on what we know so far. Okay? And try not to jump into conclusions. Okay. And if ever there would be some signs or symptoms that they would actually notice, sana matulungan nila yung taong yun, dumulog sa mental health professionals who can basically give more information about that specific situation or condition.
Wag daw kayo yung judgmental.
Oo, kasi at ang hirap din magbigay ng kumbaga parang step-by-step process because again, it might be different from one condition to another.
So, narinig nyo yun, wag judgmental. Okay. So, as we wrap up this episode, last question that I have for you is, how are you as a psychologist? Like, how do you manage it? Kasi di ba parang everyday, depende sa bigat, parang sinasalo mo siya. So, how do you manage that?
Okay, so syempre nag-i-start siya dun sa training. That's why I hope I can take this opportunity to thank my mentors, who guided me. Kasi dun pa lang mabibigyan ka na nila ng set of practices that you could do as well to take care of yourself. How to build a compartmentalized practice between what you do in work and what you do in your life for yourself. So there's a lot of practices that you could actually engage in. And if those things failed, it's okay to ask for help, even for us. So there are actually some psychologists, even psychiatrists that I know who are currently being attended to by another mental health professional. So, kumbaga parang it's a common practice in our profession na hindi porket ito yung profession namin, we can always help ourselves. Yeah. Of course, we can engage on those practices that we know, but sometimes hindi rin siya enough to help ourselves. So, we can ask another professional to help us. Yeah. Okay, so currently, sufficient time, leisure management is working, and that's how I am currently dealing with these problems or with the things that I also experience in delivering those services.
Okay. Last piece of advice for those who are suffering silently.
So, it's better if you could consider or maybe look for people. Again, someone who's within your immediate environment who you can trust. It's better if you could start talking about these things so you could be guided, or there's a chance for you to kumbaga parang ilabas, di ba, or i-express itong mga nararamdaman or saloobin natin para mas may open up yung possibility for help. And again, it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
Okay, and help is available.
Oo, I think that's also a barrier na parang nahihirapan tayo humingi ng tulong kasi sanay tayo na parang it's a badge of honor if kaya mong dalhin lahat.
Kumbaga parang sana nga kumbaga andali lang sanang gawin, pero yun nga, talagang kailangan nating tandaan na tayo ay tao.
Yes.
And part of being human is that we have weaknesses.
Yes.
And whenever we are feeling not okay, then that just gives us a clue na we have to do something different.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, hindi ko na malaya na gano'n na pala katagal.
Parang ang dami ko pa dito hindi natanong. Pero I hope if I invite you next time, pwede pa ulit. I hope sa second part, if ma-invite kita ulit, pwede pa.
Okay. Yes, pwede. Actually, yun nga, parang ang dami pa rin siguro hindi na-discuss or nakuha during this conversation. And if ever, our listeners would actually have some more questions. So, sana doon natin masagot,
Yes.
So, sana ma-schedule ulit natin.
Okay, so they can find you, Tito Mong Psychologist, across different social media platforms. Is there any way kung paano pa nila ikaw ma-reach if they want to do a consultation with you?
Yep. Actually, you can send a message to my pages. Again, that's Tito Mong Psychologist.
Tito na talaga.
Yes. Oo, Tito na talaga Nandun na tayo At hindi ko na i-deny. Part of acceptance.
Yeah.
So, yun. Send lang kayo ng message. Again, if you need some contact details for specific mental health institutions or clinics, no, just send a message. I have a readily made file para doon. Tapos, pwede kong ibigay sa inyo so that you can directly inquire, for example, about their schedules or prices. Alam ko, part din ng listahan na yun yung mga merong free mental health consultations. So, nandun din yung clinics namin. So, if you want to directly consult sa akin or dun sa mga kasama kong psychologist, you can also inquire for that.
Other things I'd like to let the people know.
Okay, so currently, no, I'm working on a project to help people who are experiencing acute insomnia. Yung mga, sabihin natin, nagkaroon ng problema or merong ginawang project, school projects, preparations for exam, and eventually they find it hard to sleep as to how they used to be. So, I'm currently engaging on a project to develop a treatment program for people who are experiencing acute insomnia. So, meron tayong survey form sa aking pages. So, hopefully, you can also consider to join that project so you can receive free treatment for that condition. Meron ding mga nakaspecify doon na qualifications. Regardless, if you won't find yourself qualified, for example, from the different characteristics that I've included there, kung hindi man mag-qualify, you would still be invited for a free webinar. So, about simple tips on how you can get yourself a good night's sleep.
Oy, nice. Kasi isa rin sa mga problema yan ang sleep. Yes. Pero you'll send us the link, right?
Yes, so I can actually share the publication material, the link for the survey, and kung ano pa yung mga kailangan nilang malaman.
Ay, okay, nice. That's very nice. So, reach out kayo sa kanya and lalagay namin sa show notes lahat ng links. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode and tune in for the next episodes kasi marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. Ayun, until next time on the Mental Health Ka Dyan podcast. Bye!
Mental Health Ka Dyan.